I'm going to be moderator. My name is Takashi Lausiko, and I'm a software developer at Dandemutande. But the issue that we've come here today is the issue of cybersecurity and knowing how each and every one of us can play our part to secure our organizations and even our personal information. Everybody in here knows that we're riding the wave of the information age, where from the rural areas up until to the urban cosmopolitan, it's become easier to communicate, share, transfer words, images, audios, and even documents, let alone money. We'll talk about all the money transfer platforms that are available. We have that advantage in this day and age. But much like any human interaction that has advanced, it comes with its disadvantages. And these disadvantages come in the form of computer viruses, ransomware, phishing, and so forth. These affect our personal lives, but most of all, they affect the bottom line in our businesses as they compromise our data and information. So in this webinar, we hope to enlighten you and educate you on how you can protect your internet-connected systems, such as your hardware, software, sensitive data, and financial assets from cyber threats. With me today on my panel of speakers, I have Mr. Brian Samakomva. He's the Security Solutions Architect at Dandemutande. And then with him is Mr. Austin Makate, right? He's the Assistant Manager, Technology Risk and Assurance at Makate. And then we also have Mr. Cade, Zvavanjanja. I hope I got that right. He's a partner in digital technology, also at Makate. So with my learned colleagues will take you through how you can be vigilant in protecting that which is most precious to you in your businesses and personal lives, and guard against your daily online threats. With that said, without wasting much time, I'll hand over to our first speaker, Austin Makate. You can take it on. You can take it off from here.
Okay, thank you, Taka. Yeah, so as you move to the first slide, Taka, I thank you very much and for giving me this opportunity. And I thank all participants for choosing to be with us today, where we are going to echo on cybersecurity issues on this Cybersecurity Month. Our campaign on this webinar is Do Your Part and Be Cyber Smart. So you will notice that whether connected at home, on the go, in classroom, or at office, it's crucial that you do your part to protect your information online and be more secure. So during this course of my presentation, I shall tackle two things, which is human element as the weakest link in cybersecurity line chain, and to exhort people to think before they click. So you may move to the next slide, Taka. Thank you. Yeah, so generally we have three key pillars in cybersecurity, which are people, processes, and technology. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that confirmation. So what I'm saying generally we have three key pillars in cybersecurity. Generally we have three key pillars in cybersecurity, which are people, processes, and technology. From these three, people seem the weakest. And why is that so? We will address that. You will notice that technology and processes are a product of people. Hence, we need competent people to establish these two pillars. Again, system users are people, and we need competent users who can securely use these systems. In view to this, there should be an infinite appetite to train people to be cyber smart, as most of their activities are now technology dependent in space which is not crime free. So closely looking at cybersecurity, it has become like a cat and mouse game in which all actors should not get weary. If the mouse gets tired of running from the cat, then it gets consumed. And on the other hand, if the cat gets tired of chasing the mouse, then it starves to death. So on a lighter note, for those who grew up watching cartoons, cybersecurity, I can say it has become like a Tom and Jerry. So no one is supposed to get weary. All the actors are supposed to be competent and to do their part. So despite having a robust technology and processes, if people are not up to date with cybersecurity trends, they negatively impact organizations' ability to mitigate and respond to cyber attacks. And these people automatically become a liability. So other factors that add up to people being weak are disgruntlement at work. So disgruntled employees tend to be hostile and can potentially leak critical information. Then we also have another item is corruption. People easily get corrupted from financial gains, and for that cause, they assist in breaching security. Then we also have the value for life. Almost everyone values life, and in most cases, it is threatened. If it is threatened, they tend to give in. So you will notice that if one gets threatened to his life, it tends to divulge information for the safety of his life. So Taga, you can move on to the next slide, please. Can you hear me, Taga?
Yes, Austin, please go ahead.
All right, we are on the next slide.
So whilst we wait for from this end, I can't see, but if you can see it from that end, probably I can do a comment on that slide so that we don't waste too much time. So on the next slide, we have the what to do with the weakest link. What is it that we are supposed to do with the weakest link? So this is the issue that I'm going to address. So what to do with the weakest link? Two views we should have. That is the organizational perspective and the personal perspective. On personal perspective, the emphasis is on infinity training. At the organizational perspective, two groups of people we have, which are friendly and those who are hostile, as I mentioned before. For the friendly ones, we do exactly what we are doing today, and it should be an infinity cyber awareness and trainings to people. So it should be training. But what should we do with the unfriendly one, the ones who are hostile? We then need to apply some of these principles. Of course, the list is not limited to what I'm going to comment here, but these are some of the principles that we can apply, which is the principle of insecurity, the principle of least privilege, the principle of separation of duties. So what do we mean when we say the principle of insecurity? One needs to admit that there is no 100% secure environment, including people. So no matter how much training you provide, always leave a gap that people will let you down, either willingly, through a compelling force, or through ignorance. So embracing the former principle is the genesis of fixing the weakest link. What follows is the adoption of the principle of least authority. This principle requires that any user has only the permissions required to complete the assigned task. So in case a user is turned hostile, the harm is limited to that only task assigned. Another measure that can be taken is to apply the principle of segregation of duties. And I find it an improvement of the former. The idea behind it that no single person should have too much authority. Instead of one person completing a task, as we have seen in the previous principle, he now requires partners to complete such tasks. So in case one of them turns hostile, the impact is nearly insignificant. So these are some of the principles that we can apply as we configure our processes and our technology. Because people are weak and there's little that we can do when they turn hostile. So Taka, you may move to the next slide, please. So on the next, without wasting time, on the next slide, as we wait the slide to come up, probably from your end, it would have appeared, I'm not quite sure, but from this end, it's not yet on my screen. But the next slide is, yes, think before you click. So I'm going to divert you to my second discussion, which is think before you click. You will notice that cyber criminals like to go fishing every day. And you ought to be cyber smart for you to avoid taking their lucrative bait. One ought to think before clicking that mouse button. Just don't fall victim of phishing scams. So in this presentation, I will discuss on how one can have an extra sense of detecting this social engineering technique by cyber criminals. So let's look at some of the solutions given on how to avoid phishing scam. So, okay, before I start going on that, let me first define what phishing is all about. In case we have some who do not understand. So from my slide here, I have this one good definition. Phishing is when criminals use fake emails, social media posts, or direct messages with goal of luring you to click on a bad link or download malicious attachment. Clicking on a phishing link or a file that puts you at risk of sharing personal data with cyber criminals or installing software onto your device. So how should we avoid from this type of social engineering technique by the cyber criminals? So first thing, you need to be careful when receiving an email from the external sender. So we have one example of how most companies configure their exchange server. So a warning is given in most cases when you receive an external email. From my slide, you can see there is a caution which is saying this email originated from outside the organization. Do not click on links or open attachments unless you know and trust the sender. So this is one technique, one resolution we can apply towards trying to minimizing the phishing scams. Taka, you can move on to the next slide. So on my next slide, as we wait for it to appear, before clicking on links or downloading attachments, you first need to ask yourself the following questions, which are, does it contain an offer that's too good to be true? If it does, it most likely is a phishing scam. Does it include language that's urgent, alarming, or threatening? So in most cases, scam emails will always try to convey a sense of urgency to get you clicking harmful links. So another question, is it properly crafted writing riddles with misspellings and bad grammar? So you will notice that reputable corporations check their communications content and grammar. Many mistakes are clear indicators of fabricated emails, and if you are receiving such emails, most likely you are receiving a phishing scam email. So is the greeting ambiguous or very generic? So you note that reputable companies will never ask for protected information via email, phone, or text messages. Always be suspicious if this occurs. Does the sender's email address match the company it's coming from? So this one is very critical, the last point, number 7. This email generally encourages you to click on a hyperlink, which then directs you to a malicious website or installs malware onto your computer. So the precaution that you can take, try hovering your mouse over the link and see whether the URL link match what is exactly on the text. In most cases, what's written on the text will be different from what is reflected when you hover your mouse. So it's one good sign that you are being misdirected. And also look, does the actual link look like it belongs to whomever sent the message? Like, let's say we have Amazon.com, but when you closely look at the email, it's stated Amazon.com. So some people, they don't closely look at the email they are receiving. So you might think that email is coming from Amazon, but yet it's not coming from Amazon. It will be purporting to be coming from Amazon, but it's a scam because the person has fabricated the correct email. So let's move to the next slide, Taka. So whilst we wait for Taka to move to the next slide, my next slide is talking about the comparison of phishing versus marketing and spam. How should we distinguish the two, and how should we differentiate the three? I mean, so you will notice that a spam is an unsolicited emails, usually for marketing purposes, which you did not sign up for. So this is very critical. You did not sign up for this, and these are you are receiving marketing information from these spam emails. And with marketing emails, these are emails which are received from having done business or registering to a newsletter. Usually these emails from companies which you interact with or are familiar with. So you have solicited for getting information from these companies. That's why you are receiving. But with phishing now, these are emails that are sent which try to exfiltrate information from you or trick you into clicking on malicious URLs. So this is straightforward. This is straightforward. So let's move to the next slide, Taka. So on my next slide, I'm going to address two issues here. Someone is asking, I've seen a phishing email. What do I do? I'm also going to address the aftermath of taking the bait. So for the first question, audience, you don't need to be worried. You have already done the hard part, which is recognizing that an email is fake and part of criminal phishing expedition. So what you just need to do is to report the email to IT security department. Do not do what it says. Normally, we have instructions in that. We are going to discuss about that in my next slide. If you can also delete the email. If you know how to go about deleting, it's quite easy. You can take your protection a step further by blocking that sending address. So let's now look at the aftermath of taking a bait. So it's nearly impossible that we might exist without taking the bait. Sometimes we are fooled into taking a bait. So we need to look at how should we behave, how should we respond after taking the bait. So before doing that, I will talk to you about the consequences. You are bound to get your information stolen, your personal private data stolen, and obviously if you are using a company device, company data is also going to be stolen. The other thing which is so heinous, which is also going to happen to you, there's going to be a plantation of a malware onto your system for continuous exfiltration or system disruption. So this is the worst case scenario, because it is going to continue exfiltrating data, and it's also going to disrupt your system. So let's move to the next slide, Tata. So on this one, I'm going to be emphatic on the aftermath. I'm going to be emphatic on this one, and I need your ears, ladies and gentlemen. If you are so unlucky to click on the button without thinking, and you happen to download a backdoor or a reverse shell connection malware, in this case, you will be the one with the responsibility of initiating the connection with the cyber criminals. The main challenge with this is that in most cases, the reverse shell is able to bypass firewalls and overcome port address translation and network address translation. So you will notice that by design, most perimeter security block malicious inbound traffic as per the configured signatures. Outbound traffic in most cases treated as safe as it is emanating and initiated from within. These type of malware are very difficult to discover as they are bespoke designs in nature and not included in most malware signature databases. So it's very difficult to deal and handle with a malware which is of a reverse connection in nature, because what will happen now, you will be the one to initiate connection with the command and control server of the cyber criminals. So our firewalls and our perimeter security are in most cases not able to detect such connections because they are treated as healthy connections and are using protocols like HTTPS and UBV, someone who's just trying to browse a website. So they are very difficult. So please, ladies and gentlemen, you need to take cognizance of this. So also another way of getting this malware is also through complex malwares which are distributed through supply chain attacks. So in most cases, we have little to do about this because you will notice that this is a cyber attack that targets a trusted third-party vendor who offers services or software vital to the supply chain. Today, the average software project has many dependencies. If a popular app includes one compromised dependency, every business that downloads from the vendor is compromised as well. So the number of victims can grow exponentially. So one may ask, what's the solution to this type of attack? We can try and implement the sandboxing, which is an environment to test the software that you are receiving before deploying it in an enterprise. So what should we do is a major question. Once you have been hit by a phishing scam, do not provide any further information. You may want to disconnect your device from the internet, back up your data, run a scan for malware and other threats. But like I said, in case of a reverse connection attack, malware are not very helpful in this equation because like I said, they are bespoke designs designed for a particular organization to exfiltrate information. So in most virus signatures, you won't be finding this type of malware. They will be equally new, and you can then register them after you have been hit. So in most cases, they are very difficult to track using malware, anti-malware software. So you may also want to consider a factory reset your passwords, contact your banks, your authorities, and service provider, spot the differences, search for ongoing, for unrecognized devices, notify your friends, contact service providers and employer. Yes, Taka, I can hear you.
Oh yes, Austin. I was saying for the purposes of time, just wrap up so that we can move on to our next speaker.
Okay. Okay. So can you take me to the last slide?
Wonderful.
The takeaways.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
So on my last slide, I'm going to give you other takeaways, and that will conclude my presentation. That will conclude my presentation on the other takeaways. So these are other takeaways that you might need to consider. So know how to avoid scam or phishing. I think we have exhausted on this one. So you might also need to secure your confidential data by using secure networks. So don't just use any open network that you see, especially when you are going to airports and you have got a company device. Some companies, they are having avoid policies, bring your own device policies, and you're allowed to take it home. And you so happen to arrive at the airport and you are having free Wi-Fi and or in any other environment that is providing free Wi-Fi. If you have confidential information that you got jealously, don't just connect your devices that contains useful information that is confidential using those type of unsecure networks. Protect access points with strong passwords. So you can as well check on the other advice that are given on creating a strong password. Install software and updates when they are become available. So you notice that when you are also in the habit of updating your systems, some of the patches they come along with solutions of the issues that are happening in the cyber environment. So I think that takes me to the end of my presentation. And thank you, Taka, and thank you all the participants for participating. A good morning to you all.
Hi, Austin.
Great. Thank you, Austin,
Yes.
for
Are you going to be sharing the presentation?
Yes, I've already shared the presentation with Brian. I think he can share with you.
Okay. So Brian, if you can do the needful.
Will do. Thank you.
Right. Okay, wonderful. So everybody will get that presentation. And
yeah,
thank you.
There's room for questions. I'm prepared to take some questions, or probably we might do it after all the other presenters have done. I have no issue with that. But if there are any burning questions, please, Brian, I might ask you to let them come through.
So can we hold questions for after the presentations for the sake of time? So those who've got their hands raised, can you please?
Yeah, I think for the sake of time, probably we can hold the questions and then you allow other presenters to do their presentation. Then we can take the questions at the end.
Wonderful stuff. Right. So from Austin's presentation, from Austin's presentation, it seems like the biggest threat to ourselves is ourselves. Yes. So vigilance and education is the key solution here for protecting ourselves against cyber attacks. Yeah. So vigilance, guys, is the key. Let's keep on learning, putting education forward in terms of cybersecurity. So we'll move on to our next panelist, and Cade Brian will take on. Will be our next speaker for this webinar.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you all to our webinar. Allow me to share my presentation as well, so we can get it off the ground. Just a second. Please confirm you can all see my presentation. I'd like to thank Austin, who came through before I did, spoke pretty much more of what I will be presenting, and my presentation will be mainly based on the user behavior. So my first question to you was, what is cybersecurity user behavior? And I came up with a statement that it is understanding the digital habits of users to better protect them and the network they operate within. And trends also state that with all security hardware and software, the human element in the network is the weakest link. Thus, it is required to school the human element. I'll just take you through some of the bad behaviors and good behaviors of cyber users. One is clicking before you think, like Austin alluded to, sharing of removable storage devices, for example, USB sticks, sharing passwords, using weak or easy to guess passwords, saving passwords on workstations, leaving computers unlocked, use of unlicensed or cracked software, sharing of unauthentic links, use of unsecure networks. I think Austin also spoke about this, where he spoke about the airports, the shopping malls, where they offer free networks, improper privileges to network resources, storing critical files on encrypted cloud servers, or even locally hosted servers as well. Not updating devices. So not updating devices or software operating system with the latest security patches. Not employing multiple factor authentication for all devices, systems, and services. Those are some and more that you can come up with. Allow me to take you through the good behaviors, some of the good behaviors. Always being mindful of what you are clicking. I think Austin spoke widely about this one. The use of multi-factor authentication on all, be it your social media, be it your emails, and be it your systems at work as you VPN back into the office. Use of password managers, maybe to give you those strong passwords, opposed to using your spouse's date of birth or your wedding date, or something that's very simple, even your date of birth. Always lock your computer when not in use or when you're leaving your workstation. Always lock your computer, because you don't know who is around you and what they are capable of doing with the computer exposed to them. Use of authentic software, and always stay up to date with software updates. Encrypt data in transit and in storage, and enforce network authentication for users on the network. This is to curb all those hackers that are coming through and perpetrating as part of your users on the network. These are some, but not all of them. But these are the most best practice behaviors that you should adhere to. What bad behaviors can lead to? Well, they lead to spam and phishing spread. I think Austin spoke more about spam and phishing as well. They also lead to corporate and personal data loss. It also leads to ransomware attacks, it leads to DDoS attacks and malware. And malicious threats are continuously evolving, and attackers seek any opportunity to exploit vulnerabilities. As such, understanding cybersecurity user behavior can be a game changer as we solidify the human firewall. Who needs to improve their behavior? I think all users that use the network need to improve their behavior. This is from the C-level management, the top management. Look at middle-level management, supervisors, low-level employees, social media users, gamers, scholars, cloud users, developers, and basically anyone who is accessing a network. Features and benefits of cybersecurity behavior training. It enriches user behavior, reduces risk and costs, protects sensitive information, and boosts employees' productivity, maintain customer trust, and also protects the same individuals whose behavior we are looking at. One of our partners did an analysis over 12.5 million users who use the network, and we're using the fishbone to see how their behaviors are like within a network. So from when they started this survey, there was an average of 32.2% of bad behavior within a network. And after 3 months of training, it dropped down to about 18%, 18.5%. As they continued this training over the course of the year, after the 12th month, the bad user behavior dropped down to about 5.4%. And this shows that when we interact with our users, when we interact with our network users, we help them and conscientize them on what bad behavior is within a network. I think Austin spoke more about bad behaviors as well, that if we do not conscientize the human firewall, which is the human factor, which is the weakest link within a network, we are leaving our networks vulnerable, and as we do not school them, we are prone to be attacked. I think in conclusion, integration of behavioral insights with cybersecurity measures is a robust strategy in the digital world. We advocate for business to adopt such practices, emphasizing the dual benefits of technical protection and human awareness. I'd like to thank you all for listening to me as I went through the behavior for users, so that we curb us being the weakest link within any network. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Brian, for that presentation. It was short, concise, and to the point, where he pointed out that our human behavior can be the best counter for the other humans' behavior, particularly the criminals that are on the other side of the screen. So once we can get in touch with our own behavior, we'll be able to fish out, or we'll be able to see when an attack is coming, and with the help of technology as well, we can see when an attack is coming or happening or currently taking place within our organizations and our devices and information. So as we move on to our third speaker, Mr. Cade, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, take it
away.
Good
afternoon, everyone. I'll do my presentation in 1 minute, 47 seconds, please, so bear with me, I'll be very fast. As emerging technology is coming up, threats are coming up, criminals are becoming more sophisticated and are becoming more powerful in terms of attacks. Whilst the attack landscape is increasing, as more things are coming connected to the internet, and as more people are connected to the internet, the threat landscape is increasing. What that means is each and every time a device, a person is connected, it's decreasing the level of complexity to attack, but it's giving leverage and more power to the criminals. Can we catch up with the criminals? Yes and no. The criminals are using more sophisticated tools, and the attack landscape is increasing, whilst what's needed to attack is coming lesser and lesser in terms of the skill that is needed. At the same time, A lot of people are losing consciousness in terms of cybersecurity, and vulnerabilities are also on the increase. What can we do? One, let's test our systems. Let's test our softwares. Let's test our backups. Let's test our BCP plan and our GRPs. Let's train people, continuous training, continuous awareness, continuous feedbacks, continuous monitoring. Continuous is the word. Continuously doing it, continuously perfecting it, and continuously settling it. In conclusion, in as much as we put technical measures, administrative measures, controls, and systems in place, remember, security is about people, people, people. You are the security, your people are the security. Let's secure our networks. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Wonderful, Ken. That was fast. I'm hoping everybody caught that, and I'm hoping everybody can resolve their cybersecurity issues that fast as well. But no sweat. We've got people from Makate, we've got people from Dandemutande who can help you out when you've got cybersecurity issues at hand, or you're constantly under attack. We'll come in, we'll step in and stand in the gap for you guys when you feel you are overwhelmed. But key to the presentations that have come from all the panelists here, I found out that people are desperate, or they're in despair to the fact that cyber criminals are constantly ahead of us, or they're constantly trying to get ahead of us, trying to get to our sensitive information, our financial assets, and so forth. And people are in despair in that how do we stay ahead of the curve? How do we stay in front of them when they come around? What I've picked up is that continuous education is required, in all facets. Continuous education to know what are the new trends in terms of attacks, what are the new trends in terms of breaching your systems, particularly if you're in an organizational setup. Continuous training is required for all staff members. It doesn't matter whether they are low-level employee or high-level employee. All staff members should be educated on what's going on in terms of security threats. Because from the low level, that's where they'll get in. And even on the high level, if they don't know, they will be breached, and then you'll have a problem on your hands. So continuous education is required in order to stay ahead. So when we do our social media browsing and so forth, take note to add, to read up on your cybersecurity, or what are the trending security threats going around in this day and age, And then there was another question that came through from Muya. What can we do to improve cybersecurity knowledge retention amongst our staff? Yes, I believe as been mentioned by all the speakers and the panelists, it's continuous education. Every once in a while, I don't know how often you want to schedule that. Yet Dande, we can do that for you as well. When you come through, we've got the boardroom for you guys to be trained on what's new and what's dangerous in the cyber world. So we're here to help you out. Yeah. Are there any questions? Look.
I think I like the question that came through from Justin Marufu. He was asking, can we ever catch up with these cyber criminals? They always seem to be ahead of us all the time. So Mr. Marufu, I think it comes down to it being a bread and butter issue for the hackers as well. They are making a living out of this, and continuously they are trying to look at all those loopholes that they can use to get into systems and create all these crimes. But like my colleagues did speak about continuous training, continuous upgrading your software, continuously updating your firmware. This will care about most of these crimes that are coming through from the hackers. But like your question rightfully says, it's It's a race. We are trying to block them out and they're trying to come in. So it's continuous. Thanks.
Okay, great. Oh, so yeah, when it comes to playing our part, we have to. Why? Because we have the most to lose. Whether it's your financial assets or it's your sensitive data, we have the most to lose. So we have to keep them safe. Gone are the days where, you know, we would put them in a Chubb safe, you know, one of those Chubb safes. You lock it up, or and no one is getting in there if they don't have the key. We're in an advanced technology where authentication now, you've got multi-factor authentication. Let's use all of those tools, you know. Those are the keys that keep the safe and keep the information safe for your benefit, you know. So let's use our multi-factor authentication tools. Let's upgrade our systems continuously. And another key thing is to get authentic software from reputable resellers or even from the reputable developers, so that you know you don't face the problem of corrupt patches that are speaking to someone who's in Siberia or somewhere there, somewhere out there, you know. So let's keep our let's keep our information safe. Let's keep our financial assets safe, because everything is becoming digital, from currencies to data. It's becoming digital. So let's be vigilant and take a step in that right direction.
Sure. There's something else as well from Cade Ngwenya. He's asking how often can we do vulnerability assessments and penetration tests. I think Mitchell gave him a profound reply the way he says vulnerability assessments should be conducted regularly, typically quarterly, or whenever there's a significant change to your infrastructure. Penetration testing can be performed annually with additional tests after major changes or updates. However, the frequency may be based on organizational risk policy and industry regulations. Yeah, I think for most of our big corporates, looking at the banks, insurance companies, most of the financial sector insurance companies, they are mandated by the regulator to have at least a vulnerability assessment quarterly and a penetration testing once a year. And yeah, thank you, Mitchell, for that one.
And as we wrap it up, is there anybody else with questions that they believe maybe their issues haven't been answered?
I think we can also leave them with the comfort that we are their desired partner in terms of cybersecurity awareness, and be it cybersecurity mitigation or remission. Dandemutande and Makate are there to help you with all these matters when it comes to cybersecurity. Reach out to us. We've got a solution we can give you, be it tailor-made or be it a regulatory solution. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. All right. At this point in time, I would like to thank everybody who has come through for the webinar. Thank you for affording your time. I believe it was beneficial for you more than it was for us. But like my colleague Brian said, come through to our offices. Our doors are open. Come to Makate, their doors are open as well. And we can help each other overcome cyber threats.
Thank you very much, host. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy. Good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Likewise,
do your part and be cyber smart. Thank you, Dandemutande, for hosting together with Makate. Have a very
Likewise, Austin. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you.